Last week, it was reported that Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson wants to play in Seattle but is open to trades to 4 NFL teams: the Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans Saints, Las Vegas Raiders, and Chicago Bears. In the AFC South, the Houston Texans have a quarterback controversy of their own, with Deshaun Watson requesting a trade. I'm joined by Jack McGarr and Emma House to debate which QB they would rather have, Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson.
I mean, to me, it's pretty easy who I'd rather want. I mean, it's Deshaun Watson. He's younger than Russell Wilson is, and I think that's one of the biggest keys is that, I mean, age is everything with a quarterback right now, injury prone. I mean, Russell Wilson doesn't really have any injuries to his name, but the fact that Deshaun Watson can lead his team to even a couple wins with that poor offensive line, really no defense, and he was missing his best wide receiver for the last half of the season, and he still led the league in receiving yards. I really think that shows that he is a real talent, maybe even top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. I know Russell Wilson was MVP for the first third half of the season, but he really let himself go when he didn't have a run game. Deshaun Watson has shown he can be that quarterback without the weapons he needs, and I think that really is why I would rather have Watson at the end of the day.
Well, I think the most obvious argument for Russell Wilson is he's a Super Bowl winner.
True.
Deshaun Watson has not been to the Super Bowl and has not won the Super Bowl. But I also think Russ has been there for a while. He's been there for 7 years with the Seahawks. He knows the game. He knows how to play, and he knows how to play without, some of the best people on his team. In 2018, he lost key players like Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas was out for some of the season. He still won a 10-6 season with that. Mm-hmm. So he knows how to play, and he knows how to make the best out of the situation. I think also a big part of having a good quarterback is a good coach relationship, and I think with Russell Wilson, he's so easy to get along with in that, yes, you're going to be giving up your whole, you're going to be needing to give up a lot of stuff to get the quarterback because they're going to they're going to demand a lot. And they are going to want the team to be surrounded by them. But I think with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and the way that Russ kind of is dynamically with coaches, he's really easy to get along with and he's willing to work around what he's got. And I think that's a big part of it. I think Deshaun Watson, with him losing everything, to me it was kind of he was well, I lost everything, so I can't, He's well, I can't do anything with this team, but we've seen with Russell Wilson, he's lost stuff and he's still made a team out of it.
That's true. I mean, I think you mentioned too before. I mean, you're gonna have to give up a lot to get either one of these quarterbacks. I think the Texans were saying they want at least 3 first-round picks for Watson, and to be honest, I don't know if that's asking too much. I know that Watson just signed a basically supermax deal, and he's on contract for at least 3 more years. You're basically giving a first round for each year he's on contract. I don't really know if he's got any injuries really that you got to be concerned of. And I know with his offensive line last year, the fact that he didn't really get hurt for an extended amount of time was actually kind of impressive. I mean, that offensive line could not block him at all. So I think if you give Watson an offensive line where he can be protected and he can make more accurate, more decisive throws when he's protected, I think Deshaun Watson can lead you probably to a Super Bowl team. I know you said before he hadn't been to a Super Bowl, but he really hasn't had that great of a team around him, especially on the offensive end.
Yeah, I think another thing, too, you mentioned age earlier. Russell Wilson is only 32, which, that's old for a quarterback, but he's still making some big plays.
Yeah,
he had a really good season this year. He went 12-4. I don't think that he's slowing down anytime soon. I think we're going to see him with a long career in football if he can stop getting hurt all the time or tackled, I guess. I think he needs a really good defense, and I don't know if he has a really good defense, and he can do a lot.
I think, too, with J.J. Watt signing with the Cardinals, I think Russell Wilson probably wants out a little bit more than he did already before. I know he hasn't demanded a trade yet, but I could see that maybe happening in the next week or two. And if he does, I think the entire league shakes up. Number one, if Russell Wilson goes, but I think if Deshaun Watson goes, too, I think that changes the entire landscape of the NFL. And depending on what division he goes to, I mean, that division is going to immediately try to get more weapons to try to beat whatever quarterback either one of them get. But again, at the end of the day, I think it's still Watson for me. He's led the league in passing yards with a terrible offense for even the whole season, but especially during the last half of the season when Will Fuller got suspended for using PEDs. So I think when you look at it, Deshaun Watson was able to lead the league in passing yards with really no offense around him besides himself. So I think that really shows you what he can do with really no weapons around him at all.
At the end of the day, I think it's like you said, Deshaun Watson does have a lot of potential. He is a really young quarterback, but I think if I were choosing a quarterback, I would want the one with more experience. And I feel like it's more of like a Tom Brady kind of situation where Russell Wilson has the experience. He has the stats to back it up, and he has the potential to do even more, even though he's an older quarterback.
Yeah, I think, too, with Watson being so young, he definitely does need a little bit more experience to his name. And I think if he goes to the right team that has, again, an offensive line that can protect him, some weapons around him, I think he can really show why he was drafted so high in the draft. I know the Bears kind of missed out on him on the number 2 pick. And I know the Bears are trying to get him right now, and they're also in the conversation for Russell Wilson. But I think he can really show what he's about if he's got the team around him. Especially, he's never really had a run game with him. I mean, David Johnson was his leading running back this season, and he can't really run as well as I honestly want to say 28 of the 30 running backs around him. I mean, he really can't help him and take the ball away from him so that he can have some rest when he's throwing the next ball. So I think if you could pair him with a running back too, I think that would help Deshaun Watson really flourish in the NFL right now.
So where are you thinking Deshaun Watson should end up?
I mean, I don't know if there's really any perfect place for him right now. I would love to see him in the Bears uniform, of course, but I think, again, you're going to have to give up at least 3-4 first-round picks plus the quarterback you already have. So, I mean, I think any team that gets him really is going to be lucky, and they're going to have to go all in really for a couple of years for some Super Bowl pushes. But, I mean, again, I think any team that gets him is going to be lucky.
Well, we'll see who's the better quarterback next year, I guess. And we're going to throw it back to Jacob.
All the time we have for today. Be sure to tune in next week for an NCAA tournament edition of Take a Side. As always, be sure to get on Sided.co and the Sided Debates app and follow us on social media at TakeASideKU. For all of us here at Take a Side, I'm Jacob Polacheck, and we'll see you again soon.